Within the historic streets of Springfield, Missouri, stands a theater that has carried more than a century of stories. Known today as the Springfield Little Theater, the Landers, with its ornate facade and grand stage, has been a beacon of culture and entertainment, welcoming audiences to the region since 1909. In its earliest days, the Landers hosted vaudeville acts, traveling performers, and silent films. By 1928, it became one of the first theaters in the world to screen talking pictures, forever changing how Springfield experiences the magic of cinema. Generations gathered here to laugh and cry and marvel at the artistry unfolding beneath its gilded proscenium arch. But the Landers' story is not without tragedy. In 1920, a devastating fire swept through the building, claiming lives and leaving scars that time could not erase. Though the theater was rebuilt, whispers remain that some who perished never truly left. Stagehands speak of shadowy figures crossing the boards when no actors are present. Patrons report sudden chills in empty seats and disembodied voices echoing through the balconies. Some even claim to see a man in period clothing, silently watching from the wings. The Landers Theater has endured more than a century of performances and even a devastating fire. Today it stands not only as a monument to Springfield's cultural legacy, but also a vessel for its haunted past, earning its place as the crown jewel of the Ozarks. Unlike some of our past investigations, this time it wasn't the theater reaching out to us, it was us reaching out to them. The Landers Theater's reputation as both a cultural landmark and a haunted site made it impossible to ignore. With more than a century of performances, a devastating fire, and countless stories of unexplained activity, we knew this was a place we had to experience firsthand. On the night of our investigation, the Springfield Little Theater had just finished a live performance. We arrived close to 11 p.m., stepping into the building after the crowds had gone home. That timing mattered, because many believe the energy of a show can linger, charging the atmosphere and amplifying paranormal activity. Welcome to the Rogue Chronicles, where we revisit our past investigations, captured through raw footage and actual evidence. Our setup began in the space between the lobby and the main auditorium. Cameras were positioned to cover the stage, the seating areas, and the balcony. Angles chosen to capture both the grandeur of the theater and any movement in the shadows. We were armed with other equipment such as night vision handheld cameras and EMF meters. We were ready for whatever the night might reveal. During our time inside the Landers Theater, the atmosphere felt charged with energy, even if the spirits themselves seemed quiet. The building had just hosted a live performance earlier that evening, and the lingering energy was unmistakable. You could feel it in the air. In the scope of personal experiences, the night offered only subtle occurrences rather than dramatic encounters. Possibly due to the late start, we split into larger groups than usual, making sure every investigator had a chance to explore. In that setting, any standout personal experiences could easily be overlooked, uncertain whether it was truly paranormal in nature or simply the result of another team member's sound or movement. As a result, the only thing that stood out were the repeated tapping on pipes in the basement and on a railing in the balcony. While our personal experiences inside the Landers Theater were limited, the atmosphere itself carried a charge. However, it was during the evidence review that the theater began to speak in a way we couldn't believe. What we captured went beyond coincidence. It revealed patterns, voices, and even apparitions that suggest the Landers holds far more than legend. Our evidence review revealed, in no particular order, beginning with 2 clips that highlight the repeating knocks and taps heard in both the basement and balcony. In the basement, during an EVP session, 3 distinct knocks on the pipes can be heard, clear enough that one of our investigators noticed them in the moment. Later, during a separate EVP session on the balcony with a different group, 3 similar taps were recorded on the railing. 2 different locations, 2 different times, yet both with the same rhythm. 3 knocks, 3 taps. Whether coincidence or something more, the repetition stood out to us. Let's see what,
Did you guys hear that?
let's see what,
Did you guys hear that?
Hey, what's that sound over here? It was.
Oh,
No one
okay.
could have been messing with it. Hey, what's that sound over here? It was.
Oh,
No one
okay.
could have been messing with it.
This third clip is the only piece of evidence that didn't seem to follow a repeating pattern during the night, came during a period of complete silence. A crashing sound can be heard, as if something heavy had fallen or been knocked over. At the time, the theater was quiet, and we may have even stepped outside, leaving this anomaly as an isolated and unexplained event. This strange tapping pattern continued in these next set of clips. In the green room, located in the basement, a sound like something heavy being dropped was followed by 4 rapid taps in succession, as if the object had bounced. What makes this especially odd is that on a different camera, 3 floors above, on the balcony, the exact same sound was captured again. A loud tap, followed by 4 quick taps. Both recordings were nearly identical in volume, yet they occurred at different times and in different locations. This kind of repetition suggests more than a simple coincidence. These next clips featured a disembodied voice that sounded like a child, more of a coo or soft mumbling than any clear words. The first was captured during an EVP session on the balcony. Later, in that same session, as one of our investigators asked a question about the second floor balcony, the same type of sound or voice was heard again, just before another investigator responded.
9, they were built as apartments.
They were built for the staff and for actors and stuff.
For actors, 9, they were built as apartments.
They were built for the staff and for actors and stuff.
For actors, first balcony. Is anybody on the second balcony?
No.
Okay, so first balcony. Is anybody on the second balcony?
No.
Okay, so
Perhaps the most compelling audio evidence came when a handheld camera on the first floor captured a disembodied voice, what sounded like 2 words spoken by a woman. At the exact same time, a stationary camera on the third floor recorded the same voice saying the same two words, only at a slightly greater distance. Three devices were running in the theater at this time. What is strange is the voice recorder on the stage, not far from the camera on the first floor, didn't catch this voice, showing that it couldn't have been contamination, such as an investigator speaking inside the theater. Two cameras, 2 floors apart, one identical voice, documenting the same sound across multiple cameras confirm this was not a single device anomaly. Finally, during setup, our cameras documented what may be the most striking evidence of the night. On the top of the third floor balcony, 2 shadows move from left to right, seen just to the right of the timestamp. Then, for a brief moment, an apparition with greater mass appeared before darting out of sight. It moved far too quickly to be any of us, and cross-referencing with other cameras confirmed that all investigators were accounted for. Could this have been one spirit manifesting so strongly that it created its own shadow? The prevailing theory of theaters suggests that performances can supercharge paranormal energy. Could that surge have given this spirit enough strength to materialize so vividly? For decades, the haunted history of the Landers Theater has pointed to the fire of 1920. Legends claim a janitor lost his life that night. But local records tell a different story. While the fire caused significant damage, no deaths were reported. The tale of the janitor may be more myth than fact. But perhaps the truth of the Landers hauntings lie not in tragedy, but in something deeper. Theaters are places of powerful emotions. Every laugh, every tear, every ovation leaves behind energy. Spirits may be drawn to that energy, to the emotions that saturate these walls, lingering long after the curtain falls. And our investigation seems to have confirmed that. We captured the voice of a woman, though no woman was tied to the fire legend. We documented a full-body shadow figure that appeared male, though no janitor's death can be found in public records from that time. These encounters suggest that the Landers Theater is charged by the collective emotions of generations who have passed through its doors, causing it to now not be haunted by a single story.